Hello. Good morning to all. As Mr. Erwin said, I'm Stephano Yahanes Leyan, a technical officer for SIDO Arusha Region. I'm here to present a topic on food processing technologies. And I will talk about SIDO, what is SIDO, and the core function of SIDO, food processing technologies, actors in food processing sector or industries, what the government did in improvement of technology facilitation, and Amaranth processing. I just mentioned a few processing for Amaranth, and actually I mentioned the production of Amaranth seed oil. SIDO is a organization, is a government parastate organization which is established in the year 1973 under the Government Act. It is serving SME small and medium enterprises, and it has offices in all regions, mainland Tanzania. The development objective of the organization is to contribute to the poverty eradication. Sorry. Go back, please. Eradication and enterprise development, thereby contributing to economic development through the provision of demand-driven services that will create employment and generate income. We have 4 main services, whereby there is technology development, business development and extension services, marketing and information services, and the finance services, or financial services. In technology development, we have technology and product development, application of new technologies, technology upgrading, technology sourcing, technology commercialization, incubator centers, artisan support program, and the technical training and advisory or consultant services. These are some of the machines or technologies developed by our technology development centers we call TDCs. We have about 8 centers all over the country, but now the government it is on the process of building other 4 centers in 4 regions. Sorry. In business development and the extension services, we have business management training, business consultants and advisory services, business development strategies, linkage to other services providers, institutions like TBS. We are working very close with TBS, TFDA, GS1, Umbrella. These institutions are the main actors in serving SMEs in establishment and the development of their industries. So we are working with them very close. The picture is not clear, but these are some of the training we provided to our clients, SMEs, in food processing. The 2 pictures are taken in rural areas, whereby we were training them on their working premises. We have 2 modalities. We have our center whereby we're providing trainings, but also we can follow the entrepreneurs where they are. So even if you are in a very interior area, we can come to your area as you drive us by demand. This is our center. We have a training center at Nanenane grounds, whereby we have facilities for training, and these are the trainees during the training. The third service we're providing is marketing and information, whereby we training our SMEs on ICT, marketing training, exhibition. We have exhibition or trade fair. We do have SIDO exhibition, whereby each zone have its rotation for the regions. Like in northern zone, we have Manyara, Arusha, Kilimanjaro, and Tanga, and it rotates for the, across the regions. For instance, this year we are going to conduct at Tanga. Last year we did Kilimanjaro, and the next year will be at Manyara, then Arusha. And this support the entrepreneurs to learn from others, to advertise their services and the products, and also to sell their products and get the income, increase their income. Catalogs and the magazine, we have so-called SIDO Habari, whereby we put the entrepreneurs' products, and they can get customers all over the countries. For instance, an entrepreneur is located in Arusha, but the magazine can be read in Kigoma, and someone who is in Kigoma can contact the person who is producing the machines at Arusha. We have also a website and a web portal. Also, we put entrepreneurs' products, and they can be read all over the world. These are the entrepreneurs in exhibitions, and actually this taken at Nanenane, which is going on. So we support them to access the market. The fourth service is financial services. We do provide loans, we as SIDO, and also because we have a limitation for our loans, we have a so-called guarantee scheme, whereby we collaborate with CRDB and NMB. So when an entrepreneur need a loan which is above our seal, we link them with CRDB and NMB and be saved well. Also, we provide loan management training to our clients. This is one of the training on credit management we did this year, and we have one of the experts from an organization called IKESO of Canada. These are some of the technologies for food processing. I just mentioned a few. This is the first one is fermentation. There is also high sugar concentration, boiling and canning, cooling, heating, irradiation, smoking, drying, and dehydration, chemical preservation, and the high sugar concentration or syrup. Sorry, I repeated that. Why do we, challenges facing the rural agro-processing? You know, our topic is dryland cultivation, farming in dryland. And most of the dryland are the rural. We are dealing with rural farmers and also processors in urban. So there are some challenges facing rural industrialization or food processing in rural. And this, I just mentioned a few. Lack of poor infrastructure, like roads, unavailability or unstable electricity. I think all we know, but the government try to solve this problem. Insufficient or absence of production facilities recommended for food processing. You know, if you process food, you have to consider hygiene. So you have to have a building which is can be approved for food processing by TFDA or TBS. So this is the problems facing rural processing of food processing. Inadequate skilled personnel, this is another problem, but SIDO and the other institutions are trying to solve this. Lack of low working capital, since most of them fail to meet banks or financial institution criteria. Things this, you know. Amaranth processing. Amaranth can be processed for both leaves and seeds. And for leaves, can be dried to be used in the future. Also can be dried or milled, then used as a drink, tea or juice, or even porridge. And the seeds can be used as flakes, popped seeds, flour when mixed with other grains, flours used for breads, porridge, and so on. Oil also is another product that comes from amaranth. This is a machine used to press amaranth seed in order to get amaranth. And the second one is amaranth seed, amaranth oil. Go on. The key players in food processing, this cannot be the limit, but I just mentioned a few. Central government is a key actor in this sector. LGAs also have a big contribution. Private sector also are actors, SMEs themselves. Government agents. Government agents, services providers like TBS, FDA, SIDO, BRELA, GS1, and so on. Research institutions, these are also very important. NGOs, CBOs are also actors. And actually we did a lot of our services in collaborating with CBOs and NGOs plus LJs. Value addition of agricultural products has been performed in Tanzania for several years now. And the fifth phase government of Tanzania has come up with the agenda of industrialized Tanzania. It means Tanzania ya viwanda, whereby already started to implement the strategies that complement the scheme or the agenda. This includes supplying and the stabilization of electric power in both rural and urban. All you know that there is a REA, whereby it supply electricity to rural areas. And also the government try to produce enough power so that there is no cut off all the in sometimes. Improvement of infrastructure like roads, provision of working capital to youth and women groups. This is through LGAs, I think most of us we know. Improvement of development centers. This is like SIDO Development Center, TDCs, as I said before, that we have 8 now, but also the government is on the way of building others development centers and improve the presence one. Like for our center in SIDO Arusha, the government already put effort to give us some machines and more advanced machines. And also construction of industrial estate of parks. This is to enable SMEs to get working premises. As I said before that, among the barrier of food processing is working areas. Now the government tried to solve that by put industrial park or industrial estates. SIDO has been collaborating with other stakeholders in supporting agricultural processing, especially in providing SMEs with skills, working tools, and capital. Some of these partners include World Vision. We have worked with World Vision for a long time in rural areas, Karatu, Ketumbeni, Longido, Arusha DC, in many areas. Oikos East Africa also, Farm Concern, Compassion International, Parastatal Women Council, Tanzania, TCCIA, Mviwata, LGAs, SOS, etc. There are a lot. I just mentioned a few. Establishment of small food processing enterprises in rural areas and the urban. This is just, I tried to show how it is difficult to establish small industries or processing units in rural and the urban. There is a great diversity of agro-processing worldwide, and in some countries it accounts for more than 60% in developed countries, and less than 10% for developing countries of the employment. Many people start agro-processing at small scale, often working from home and selling to neighbors and friends via roadsides, stall, or in a local marketplace. Characteristically, small-scale production is labor-intensive, and as there is rarely sufficient money to invest in specialized processing equipment. This shows that the rural industrialization facing some problems. And go on, please. Next one. They're facing some problems in establishments. They start slower, but later on, some of them pick up. The quality of products may vary, and small enterprises often do not have consistencies of supply, and so cannot cater for wholesalers or retailers who require guaranteed deliveries of consistent quality. Small-scale processors also may not have contracts with raw material or packaging suppliers, but buying material from local markets. This is just to show how is to compare the establishment of small industry food processing units in rural and urban. It is a survey done by SIDO for 3 months from December to February. And when you see among 14 units established, only 2 are established in rural of Arusha region. For instance, the first one is in Njiro, which is urban. The second, Moshono, urban. The third one is Atimbulu, it is rural. Njiro, urban. Majachai, rural. Mailisita, urban. Majengo, urban. USA, somehow urban, somehow semi-urban. It is a semi-urban. And the USA River also, Sanawari urban. So you can see among the 15, only 2 are in rural, and the others, 2 are semi-urban, and the rest are urban. So you can see how difficult to establish food processing units in rural, and this is a challenge because the products are coming from rural, so it needs to be processed in rural. I think it is our duty now to capacitate this so that they can be processed in rural, and the rural people get employed and they rise their income. Thank you very much. I just try to, I wanted to show you how the Amaranth seed oil be produced by a pressing oil expeller machine. And this is a link whereby you can see the machine. And I do suggest that you can copy it and you look on your time.
Yes, I would like to know SIDO's experience with compliance and probably government approvals. During the first day, somebody mentioned that in Tanzania we've got the Food and Drug Authority or administration. For small processors or agro-processors, how long does it take for them to have their products certified fit for consumption and ready to roll out on the market? Thank you.
You talked about one of the challenges as inadequate electricity. So may I know whether your sector has some plans to tap into commercial solar power for small scale and medium scale production? And also you talked of that this sector is important to reduce the unemployment. May I know how the unemployed youths, especially those who are educated, are tapping into this sector to solve this challenge? Thank you so much.
I'm interested in your oil processing. You showed that you can press oil through with the Amaranth. Is this without the shaft? And if yes, which kind of pressing machine do you use? Is it electrical, and how does it work, and how high is your yield? Thank you.
Thank you for the nice presentation. In your presentation, you mentioned several number of processing units. I would like to know who own those processing units. And B, I would like to know how do you engage community? Thank you.
Thank you for the very nice presentation. I have several questions. One is about the SIDO Habari magazine. How does one qualify to have their products listed on the magazine? And is the magazine on sale, or is it a free magazine? Then the other question is about the machine. There's a lot of interest in this machine. How much does it cost? And can it also process other seeds other than amaranth, like the moringa seeds, for instance? Then you talked about SIDO giving out loans. How much money does SIDO give to small processors? And for the guarantee with the CRDB and NMB Bank, up to how much can SIDO guarantee? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My question is around support your function that you do supporting entrepreneurs to access markets. And we are really interested in improving nutrition. And we know that amongst the populations that are much affected by malnutrition is children and women. So my question is around, when you are supporting your entrepreneurs to access markets, do you support them also on labeling, but not only labeling on expiry date, manufacturing date, but I'm interested in the nutritional value of the products that which are whether dried or dried and milled. So like the nutritional value, protein content, mineral content. This is very important to the market.
Thank you for questions. The question number one is aflatoxin management. We do, when we are training our clients, we actually consider very much aflatoxin. So we do try to educate them to consider hygiene and drying. Try to dry their raw material before they process and even after processing, in order to make sure that the products will not develop aflatoxin, which is very bad in our lives. For this also we collaborate with TFDA. Many sessions we invite them to give, we give them sessions so that also they can support us in educate people how to manage aflatoxin and others arising diseases from foods. The other question, facilities for Amaranth. It was about the machine. I think you asked it from Kilimanjaro, isn't it? Yeah, about the machine you asked it from Kilimanjaro. Thresher machine we have. We are producing thresher machines for maize, sorghums, rice, and other cereals. And we are not tried to use for Amaranth. You know, Amaranth is somehow new in the production for production in Tanzania. So we not yet tested, but I think we are going to do now that. About the machines, the machines for other cereals or grains we have. So you can also visit our office in Arusha. Experience of SIDO in experience of SIDO in supporting certification of food, processed foods. We SIDO is just the advisor and the linkages to authorities, other authorities, organs or agents like TFD and the TBS. So we just, when an entrepreneur come to our office or visit, when we visited to his or her enterprises, we just advise him or her what are required for the building or premise to be satisfied. And then at the end of the day, we write a letter to TBS, we link him or her to TFDA, and the TFDA will support him or her according to their regulations. And through our experience now, when an enterprise is okay, for TFDA, it take not more than 3 weeks to be satisfied. And when an entrepreneur is quite okay, it is not more than 3 weeks to be certified and get his or her certificate. But also, that is not an end. There is TBS. So when an entrepreneur got a certificate from TFDA, we'll come back again to our office, and they will link him or her to TBS for quality standard. It is 50,000 for TFDA, but for TBS it is free for the first year, second year, but on the third year, start to pay a quota of what is all he required according to the type of the product he produced. And then the third year, it will be half. Fifth year, it will be 3/4. And on the sixth year, will pay full cost. Challenges. About the challenges, one of the challenges I mentioned is power supply, and someone suggested about solar. Talk about solar. It is very okay that solar can be a solution or somehow a solution for this challenge. And we SIDO, what we can do is to collaborate with the other institutions which are in solar business. We can, for instance, there is a research which is going on now to show how solar energy can support establishment of small industries in rural areas whereby not yet connected to national grid. And when we get the result of this research, I think it will be some solution for this problem in rural areas. And we will convince solar power company to invest in those areas because it is a business also for them. The machine I wanted to show, it is a power driven, but as I said that we are not yet test if the machines we have for Amaranth. So we have manual machines but not yet tested. I think now we will test it to show to see if it is possible to press Amaranth seeds. About the owners of the food process units, we SIDO will just support entrepreneurs. The owners are entrepreneurs who have development centers and the training center to support them to be able to produce. But the units are owned by themselves. SIDO Habari, how can you qualify? It is just to be an entrepreneur who producing products in Tanzania. If you are producing in Tanzania, you can be one of the entrepreneurs who can use SIDO Habari, and it is free. Our machine, how much cost? It depends on which machine you are talking. But starting from 600,000 up to 5, the machine we are producing ourselves, up to 5 millions. That is the range of the machines we are producing now. About loans, our loans start from SIDO loans. They start from 500,000 and they end up at 60.5 millions. And the 65.5 million, it is if you are buying a machine for production. But if it's not for, it's just for normal business, buying and selling, it end up with in 3 millions. For CRDB and the NMB, it start with 10 millions up to 50 millions. Packaging and labeling. This is when we are training entrepreneurs, we also consider packaging and labeling. And the nutritional value is also one of the things we emphasize. They're trying to enable them to know how they can put in nutritional value in their foods. And also we collaborate with TFDA most of the time when we conduct our trainings. I think that is the end of the question you asked.
And we can actually end the session early. Let's give a good round of applause to Stefan.